Now to a potential problem at our airports. These fireys say there's a critical shortage of aviation firefighters across the country, and we can't ignore it any longer.
Trevor Rogers. I've had 38 years of service, about a total of 20 years as a fire commander.
Wesley Garrett, Secretary, United Firefighters Union Aviation Branch.
These men are career aviation rescue firefighters, providing safety to the travelling public. They're blowing the whistle on an industry they say isn't meeting safety standards.
We assume that every time we go on shift, we may have to respond to some sort of major incident.
So is it safe to fly at the moment?
The safety levels that they quite rightly expect are compromised right now.
These firefighters have broken ranks to speak out, but for them, public safety is paramount.
The more firefighters we have on the ground, the more chance we have of getting to them if there's an incident.
The issue is that we've got a critical shortage of aviation firefighters. This is really off the back of the pandemic. Air Services incentivised the retirement of just under 100 firefighters, and that's had a serious impact on our ability to staff aft stations around the country.
Wes says there's been a lag in rehiring.
Air Services operates in a safety and security sensitive area. It's very easy for them to withdraw and to sort of get on with their business without anybody knowing about it. But
What are your major concerns?
at the moment, we're operating below regulatory requirements, that is CASA approved minimum staffing numbers at a number of airports around the country. These are things which first world countries around the globe take very seriously, and I would have thought that Australia would equally live up to those standards as well.
Air Services Australia is a Commonwealth-run service. There are currently 753 aviation firefighters across 27 locations around the country. Wes claims more than 100 extra staff are needed.
What does it mean for us, the public?
It means that if we were to respond to a catastrophic aircraft incident, that it's highly likely that there wouldn't be enough staff to come in and conduct internal rescue operations.
Lives are essentially at risk.
Lives are at risk. That's right.
We have a period of time, and it is looked at and is accepted as 3 minutes for us to make a major intervention on an aircraft crash fire. After that 3-minute period of time, the chances of people surviving a major crash internal fire is much reduced.
What does it mean to be down staff?
The last thing I want to be thinking about is trying to come up with plan B, C and D because I don't have enough staff.
What's stopping metropolitan firefighters from attending to an aviation incident?
Our vehicles are very specialised and you have to have a qualification obviously to operate them. They would have to understand the construction, if you like, access areas to an aircraft.
Let's talk about this incident in Dubai. Wes, take me through, from your understanding, what's happened here?
Well, they've had a pretty substantial crash, very large aircraft. That's a Boeing 777. We have that aircraft type coming into many airfields in Australia. This is exactly the kind of incident that we need to be able to respond to efficiently, effectively, with the right equipment, with the right staffing ratios.
Trevor, do you think we could cope? Our aviation fireys at say, Sydney Airport would cope?
With a fire of that escalation, I doubt it.
They have a great deal more resources than what we provide here in Australia.
Here in Sydney, we responded to 70-odd call-outs in the last month. So that's anything from a medical to a full-blown aviation incident.
Jason's substation officer at Sydney Airport.
Please just give us the staff that we need to do the job. We're just looking for a safe working environment for our firefighters as well as the flying public.
What do you understand CASA's excuse to be to allow this to happen?
We've brought these issues to CASA. We haven't really received a wholesome response as yet, so you'd have to ask CASA.
CASA, the Civil Aviation Safety Authority, referred us to Air Services Australia. Air Services told A Current Affairs safety is the #1 priority, arguing the union's claims are inaccurate and are part of an industrial campaign for a new enterprise agreement. However, adding an additional 48 aviation rescue firefighter recruits will join the service this year and another 48 in 2023.
We don't want to find ourselves in a situation where we think, geez, it would have been good to have a couple more firefighters on that day.
No, we don't. It's not necessarily an issue of if it's going to happen, but it's when it's going to happen.
Well, CASA did tell us it routinely conducts audit and surveillance activities to ensure aviation fire and rescue services meet regulatory and safety requirements.